Yeah.
Those people surfing hurricanes, that's always pretty badass to me. I know sometimes it's safer than it looks, but to someone who grew up nowhere near the beach, and like every time I see it, I'm like, oh my God, that's cool. That's like to me, that's like the definition of badass. Everyone else is fleeing for their lives. You know, they're fleeing the state from what's coming, and they're out there like having fun in it. Like I like that. I like that a lot. I also like, you know what rogue waves are? You've heard rogue waves. It happens when the frequency of waves coalesce in such a way to create a gigantic wave, 3-4 times the normal maximum, which is like 30 feet or so. So like you can end up with waves that are 150 feet, 200 feet tall, and they completely swamp vessels. Throughout history, they've been described. Now we know they're real because of readings that have been taken on offshore oil rigs and also in a lighthouse. There's this particular lighthouse that had the windows knocked out by a wave. And it's like a couple 100 feet that the wave would have had to have been to to knock that out. But I learned today there can be the opposite of a rogue wave. There can be like a rogue dip, which to me is scarier. It's so much scarier that you're just sailing along and there's just a hole that's 150 feet deep. And there's just more water in the bottom, and
then you die.
That's so terrifying to me. The deep sea is my greatest fear. And for some reason, space is very similar to me. The idea of being stuck in that spacesuit and being insignificant and being just like lost, spinning out.
It's a similar like flavor of agoraphobia.
Yeah. Or of it's thalassophobia with water. I don't know what it's called to fear space.
Is agoraphobia fear of being outside your own home?
I think it's like you don't want to be in big open spaces. You feel trapped. Like if you can't recognize something familiar to you, I think is what it stems from.
You get claustrophobic?
Do I?
Yeah.
Like in pants. If I've gained weight, I
get claustrophobic around the thighs sometimes.
I had to put some jeans in storage because my eyes are so claustrophobic right now.
around Thanksgiving.
Around Thanksgiving,
really I get a hellish case of claustrophobic. The whole house just seems smaller around that time of the year. It's weird. The walls just
shrink up. But not like I've never. It's easy to say no, I'm not claustrophobic. Because I've never been in a situation like I've never been shoved in a locker. I've never been trapped in a submarine. I've never had that.
Yeah.
So I bet I would like it. There's no way I'd like that.
No one I would like it either. I would have a hard time.
Are you claustrophobic, Kyle?
I think I would be, but I would like to believe that I could tame that claustrophobia. I suppose I've been like wrapped up in blankets before, like fucking around with my girlfriend, and like I did a spin move and I wrapped myself up completely like a little enchilada, and then she like jumped on me and hugged me, and like the combined power of the blanket and her meant that I was now like stuck. Trapped. I couldn't get away from her. Like
my wife would hate that.
I was like, whoo! And she thought I was laughing, so I just kept getting higher and higher pitched, and I freaked out a little bit with that. I like immediately broke into a profuse sweat.
Oh, the answer is yes. You were trapped in blankets and a girl laid on top of you and you started sweating? Well,
I couldn't get out. I had no way to get out. Yeah. Like there was no escape. So I think if
it were me on top of if I were on top of you and you're all wrapped up, you wouldn't have feared. I would have whispered sweet nothings in your ear. I would have told you you're gonna be. I would have told you what Woody said to the journey people. I said, "You're fine. I'm here."
Similar thing happened to me, but my dick got hard. What kind of phobia is that?
Whoa! Someone's really spooked. So there's something smuggling something under these blankets. Yeah.
I think I would be claustrophobic for sure. I'm definitely. I don't think I'm what is it? Acrophobic. That's fear of heights. I don't think I think I'm pretty good about that. Like I'm afraid of falling and dying. I wouldn't be a very good mountain climber because I think I'm more risk averse. And then when I see those guys who are, especially with a rope, it seems like an athletic activity to me.
There's some knowledge in there, right?
Certainly. I mean, if I had the knowledge, then it's just athletic activity. It's not as death defying, but the idea of like walking around, you see those old construction guys in New York walking around on their lunch break, sitting on those beams up on the
Mhm.
towers. That's not for me. I wouldn't want any part of that. But like the idea, like when we were in the Sears Tower, whatever it's called now, I had no fear of standing out on that, that plexiglass floor. I knew we weren't going to fall through. I guess I thought there was like a one in a million chance we'd fall through, but that would be kind of cool.
Did you have no fear? Because I had no logical fear, but like emotionally, I was like,
Oh yeah, you feel it.
If right, like
I'll tell you where I had fear. It was, and it was like more than that was when we got on that zip line, that last zip line when it was raining, and you had to go up the longest, like fastest one.
Mhm.
I was afraid of that. I was a little afraid of that. It was going something about it because the cable was wet. It was going faster, and the guy told us that he was like, normally it goes 45 miles per hour, but wet, you'll be hitting 60. He says something like that, and as people would go, it would make a different noise, but like going over the cable. It was like, and it's like, holy shit, it's getting so high pitched. It was like when a grinder or something's just about to explode. And so, yeah, I was afraid to go on that one. I think it was because earlier in the day, I had sort of reflexed, stuck my hand into the inner workings of that gear, and it had almost torn all my fingers off. And I pulled my hand out of the glove, then pulled the glove out of the wheels, then put the glove back on, looked around, and then
Really?
nothing happened.
The glove's all fucked up.
Dude, the glove had chunks taken out of it. Like I think I like hit a bump, or like for some reason I reflexively stuck my hand up into, if you don't know like what a zip line's like, into the jaws of death.
Yeah, the only dangerous part of it, really.
The only dangerous part of ziplining, yeah, unless you don't hook on.
Dude, your hand would have been like you remember that dude who reaches in the chain in U-571 and he gets his hand like cut in half in that submarine movie?
I think it would be more like in Taxi Driver, the when he goes to take down the pedophiles, and that one guy's like, "Oh no!" and then he like takes a 44 Magnum and blows off all these fingers. That was pretty sick.
I don't know
how long's a knot?
Fingers been all stunt on me.
Okay, fact check me. I think a knot is 1.15 miles, and as a general rule of thumb, if you hear 7 knots, add one like every 7. So 7 knots is like 8 miles an hour. 21 knots about 24 miles an hour.
I remember we were going like 14 or 15 knots on my boat with the wind.
That's
fast.
Crazy fast. That doesn't sound right.
It was leaning. I mean, maybe it wasn't, but there's there's a gauge on the thing that tells you. But I had it, it was a racing yacht, and I had it leaned all the way over till the side that is dipping down was like touching the water, sort of like leaning a motorcycle over to your knees rubbing. And we were racing another boat at the time, trying to beat a bridge. There was a bridge up ahead, and it could only take one boat at a time. And I'm like, oh wait,
I can't sail, but I steal Sailing Valor by watching it on YouTube every day. I literally got here at 6:58 or 6:28 because of watching sailing YouTubing right before the show. Shout out Brett and Marissa. Anyway, so because of that, I know like roughly how fast your sailboat should have gone. It should have been like 6 or 7 knots. So 14 sounds really fast, but I don't know. Maybe
I'm watching a video of someone doing it to sort of compare if what I remember is correct. Dude, I did it. Like, this is what it looked like. This is about the same boat.
Dude, it's kind of cool. Like, you think, oh, what if the boat tips over, right? Well, the more the boat leans over, the smaller your effective sail gets. Because as it tips over, it catches less and less wind. So it's not going to tip over. If it were flat, it wouldn't catch any wind at all. So the sail effectively shrinks as the boat heels.
I wish I remembered the specifications of that boat. I remember it was like 30 feet long, roughly. And I know is it called a mast? Is that what the sail's on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You played Raft with us.
I suppose, but like I don't know if it's.
Do you know
I know it's called. That's what I was gonna say. It was like really tall. Like I don't know how tall though, but when I was like, I'm not climbing up there.
So boats with really tall masts. Oh, I'm talking on my ass. I'm not a sailor. Are fast. They're fast boats, and they're usually a little less comfortable. So if your goal was to do what you did, win a race to the bridge, that's the boat for it. If your goal is to sail around the world, it might not have been the boat for it.
I also know that I don't know what it's called, the displacement or whatever, like the bottom of the boat, the way how deep it goes. Like the bottom of the boat was really deep, low. Like when we would,
okay.
when I put it in its, when I parked the boat, it didn't want to go in. It was rubbing the bottom of the St. James River or wherever the fuck I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a waste of time and money.
It was.
Wait. Are you telling me your boat was a bad investment? A boat? That's a solid place to put your money.
Everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
I think Dave Ramsey talks about that.
He's always saying buy a boat.
It wasn't that bad. Like I definitely lost money, but like not a ton. Like probably like $3,000 over the life of the thing, because I got some tax benefits I technically lived in Florida, you know, on my boat half the year. You know, no state income tax down there. So that helped out. And then the boat was, I don't know, like 30 grand or something like that. I think sold it for 25, or maybe it was 25 and I sold it for 20, something like that, roughly. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
In the boating world, I think you got off easy. Now, I know there must have been a bunch of ownership expenses, like slip rental fees and stuff. So $5 grand isn't your total cost.
No, there's a couple grand of like that. And also, like when you go to sell a boat, you've got to get all the barnacles scraped off. I don't remember what that's called, but they got to haul that bitch out of the water and clean it up and get it right.
I've watched it on YouTube many times. It's a horrible job.
Yeah, it looked horrible. It was gross though. I was like, holy shit, that shit grew in a year. Like boat ownership is bullshit. Never buy a boat. I don't know if y'all ever heard that before, but
yes.
First time.
One of the only rules of finance I do know is don't buy a boat.
Don't buy a boat.
The reason it works is because like people who buy boats ideally are so unbelievably wealthy, it could sink and they wouldn't know until 8 months later, where they're like, wait, that one sank? Fuck. Oh,
no, I mean, it was $25,000. You know, it was like, it wasn't.
Do you remember what it was? Do you know the make and model?
That's what I was saying earlier. I have no idea and I couldn't name you a boat model or make. You know what I mean? I don't know who makes boats or what models are called.
I watched
when I was buying the thing,
on which boat to buy. Even though I get so seasick, I never have any intentions of buying a boat. I can tell you what I'm looking for in a floor plan.
I remember being in college and going on the GMC.com or whatever, and they would let you like pre-build an SUV or a car or something, and I'd be like, nice, and then you go to like calculate and it's like, ooh, not forever. Like, man, how did I build $130,000 Yukon?